speaking, we have Sean Carter and Sally Wheeler, who are both from our back school. They're going to talk to us about the alternative classroom, ways in which we can use our space to redefine learning, something that we can all try. So let's give a big hand. How do we find that?
Okay, hi, I'm Sally and this is Sean. We're going to talk about the alternative classroom. And by the alternative classroom, I don't just mean taking the kids outside because it's a nice sunny day like it has been today. For a moment, yeah, okay, oh, we got, oh no, I'll play. There you go. Consider the operating theatre, and we'll get to it in a moment. Think about it over the last 100 years and how things have changed. Technology, the way they use their space and the environment, and had a massive impact on our health and our well-being. But now think about the classroom. The classroom as a concept has only been, what, in the last 100 years in Victorian times. Yet we've been learning for a whole lifetime. So why do we try and restrict the learning of today into the confines of the room?
I'm going to ask you to do it because I'm going to help. Thank you. So we went up to our students and we asked them simply to draw a classroom, and they all came back with basically the same image. It was a room with 4 walls. It had tables, sometimes in groups, sometimes in rows, but even when the tables were in groups, they were either side on or front on, with this idea of there being a front to the classroom that you focused on. At the front of this classroom was always a desk with an interactive whiteboard. This concept of the front and the back of the classroom was a really big deal to kids because they said, you know, at the front, you don't want to be there, that's where the teacher always is, they're always by their desk, they're always kind of on top of you there. And at the back of your classroom, that's where the naughty kids go, and that's where you can kind of get away with a bit more. That was their kind of vision of the classroom as a whole. And you know, sometimes I want my students working in groups, and that really works, and sometimes rows really works. But that isn't the only way to learn, so we want to kind of look at some suggestions now for different ways to create a more intense learning.
I love that actually that you follow, Amy. The fact that she had the tables up at the start, and we're going to talk about those now, is you don't have to teach from the front, you don't have to just use your whiteboard. There are other resources in your room that you can use. You can use the windows at the back, you can teach, you can write on the windows, the students can write on the windows. Have them as like question walls, have them so that in the middle of the classroom, do you know what, I've got a question to ask, post it up on the window, others can respond. They love that. Also on the tables, students that, sorry, the next slide, students that won't write anything, you give them the novelty of writing on something different, whether it's the window or the table, or on the floors, and the floors inside the classroom and outside, they'll suddenly write reams. It really does engage them. I think one of the worries is, well, how do we mark this? How do we do peer assessment, self-assessment? Well, you just mark it on the tables. If you wanted to record it, take pictures of it. They can give feedback to each other. They're more likely to do it because it's something different.
Another thing you can do is totally get rid of your furniture. I know it's not really practical for some subjects, but in other subjects it is. You can see some places here we've done just that. I teach in 8 different classrooms, and I'm always annoyed with teachers shoving their tables out of the way. You can see I'm doing giant grids, getting them to do giant Coca-Colas, and students love it because they can get up and they can move around. We are going to have more and more fidgety in this room as we sit down in our chairs, and students are the same. We know when we sit in inset days, we're all kind of doing this after a couple of minutes. And this is brilliant because it lets them move around. It looks chaotic, but everyone was engaged and learning and had that ability to choose where they wanted to learn, which I really liked. Another thing that I really like doing is handing over the choice of how my students learn in my classroom, and handing that choice over, I'm the control freak, it's quite scary. Handed it over to some of my much more challenging students, and it's brilliant. They sit on the desk, and someone came in, I thought, oh, God, we're going to help the person and climb over the furniture. Actually, these students are totally good. They want to stand up, they want to lean. This child here wanted to work on the floor because then he couldn't look up and see any distractions, and he produced huge amounts of work. And this is something Sally always said, you can do that in your classroom. Sally's a science teacher, and you can see she's doing it in her classroom too. It doesn't break, we've checked any health and safety rules. And in fact, their choosing means that they're kind of always engaging.
Sian, she was this year, and she got a new classroom built just for her, and she got to design that classroom. And I was quite jealous that she could design the classroom, because when you go into a room, she has whiteboards on all 3 walls and the windows in the back, so she doesn't have a front of the classroom. She can move all her desks, and after sulking for a few days, I thought, okay, just because I'm in a science room, I can't necessarily move all of my tables. There's other stuff that I can do too, and a big part of that is going outside. I have a lovely courtyard area. It's about half the size of this room, right and not just when it's sunny. When they're cold, we make them sit out there with their coats on, and it's tough, but it's better. They prefer it. They're far more engaged in a different environment and have that element of choice. If you want to work outside, work outside. If you want to work inside, work inside. And using different spaces, not just outside. You can use the corridors, the halls, the libraries, any space that's available to you that's different, just to mix it up a bit, keep them engaged, keep them on task.
So what we kind of want you to take away from this, we're aware that everyone's got different spaces and different environments and different amounts of space inside and outside. We want you to go away and think about how could you create a more alternative environment for your students to make it, one, more memorable, two, more engaging for them, and three, like trusting our kids to actually choose how they want to learn and giving them that ability to make that choice themselves and hopefully them engaging